Hey, what's up, party people? Welcome to Honest Trailer Commentaries, the show where we talk about the show that talks about the other show. We will be going deep into our thought process behind the trailer, showing you some cut jokes. We will respond to comments from viewers and questions from viewers like you, and tease you with next week's Honest Trailer. With me, as always, Joe and Lon. Nice to see you, but who cares? We also have Michael Jonathan Smith, not creator, but writer. What is it? Executive producer? What's
writer, I'm a writer. I'm a co-executive producer on season 4
of Cobra Kai.
Yeah.
And also proud Screen Junkies alum. He worked on the roast back in the day, and another spin-off that that's a whole other episode. We'll talk about that.
Talk about that one occasionally.
Yeah, in the graveyard, but not forgotten. But man, what a great guy! He's funny. He's fast. He's furious. So he will be giving us some behind the scenes insights as we talk about our honest trailer for Cobra Kai. And to cut to the chase, though, I thought this was, I won't say a bad episode of Honest Trailers, but a difficult one, because the show is very funny and very self-aware and very good. And I'm not just saying that to crank off our guest.
Oh yeah, that's the stuff.
You are in part entertained.
Partly why you're saying.
I could have made the whole thing could have just been YouTube Red jokes, because that's why I avoided the show and didn't watch it, even though it was like right up my alley. Like, I love Karate Kid. Like, this should have been.
Apparently, based on the number of people that watched it on Netflix, everyone agreed with you.
Yes.
Because the second it came on Netflix, it was like, oh, there's a show. There's like a TV show. It's actually pretty good.
Yeah.
That was definitely my
people
experience.
didn't even want to. People didn't want to even pay for YouTube, like on YouTube. And then Quibi was like, maybe they'll pay us for YouTube. And we were like, still no.
I wrote on the show and I had to pay
YouTube free.
YouTube Premium. So I definitely feel the pain. But thank you for the kind of.
I did. Am I the only one? I feel like Joe maybe too. I watched this on YouTube Red. I had YouTube Red. And look at that. I've been with it from the very beginning.
Yeah. And I knew it was going to blow up once it dropped to Netflix, because it passed like the Midwest test, when I just had like my sister-in-law emailing me like, have you seen Cobra Kai? Like, the whole thing. So
yeah. So yeah, you guys, I assume, well, Joe, Lon, you liked it as well? You're fans?
Sure.
Yeah. A lukewarm sure from Lon. Joe,
I feel like it was obvious that I did, because I watched it ever since the YouTube days. It was not a lack of enthusiasm in my sure, but no, I mean, I feel like it does that thing where it's sort of the same thing that the new Peacock Saved by the Bell does. Like, they're kind of similar in some ways, where it both captures the spirit of the original, but kind of winks and plays with it. It doesn't just slavishly follow the original, because that would clash with our modern sensibilities. And it's all about capturing that balance, and I think Cobra Kai does it very well.
Yeah.
This is the show for me where I can never talk crap about like people who love Marvel Easter eggs and stuff like that ever again, because I'm a huge Karate Kid nerd, including the greatest sequel ever filmed, Karate Kid 2. Empire Strikes Back is the Karate Kid 2 of sci-fi sequels. And so this whole show is basically like ribbed for my pleasure. like, this whole show is just me going, they
Joe, I will say that, like, I remember, Joe, we actually went out to grab lunch in the before times, and I was telling you, like, dude, I don't know, man. I'm so nervous. I'm going in for a staffing meeting on this show. Like, I don't fucking know. And I think I threw some ideas past you, and you threw some ideas back, and like, ever since writing on the show, I'm like, okay, Joe is like my stink test. Like, I'm thinking, like, will Joe like this reference, or will Joe think this is bullshit? And I'll kind of tweak accordingly.
That's an honor. Thank you, man.
That's amazing.
I think I texted you when they announced Okinawa, and I was like, dude, I think you're going to really love that shit.
Joe is everyone's stink test for all sorts.
Old stink test.
We'll see if that still holds up when we're not working remotely. But we know you have limited time, season 4 to get back to. So let's roll the honest trailer for Cobra Kai.
The following trailer is rated S for spoilers and K for karate. From the executive producer of Jaden Son and 3 huge Daniel Stans comes a show that got every.
How many times do you get notes per season from Will Smith?
From him directly, none, but from the producers. Well, what's funny is that in the first season, we actually, our writer's room was actually in Will Smith's office, which he had abdicated to do Aladdin. He hadn't been in that office for at least 3 years, apparently. So it was just ours to write in. I remember coming in. That was also where I had my interview. And I remember coming in and being like, wow, the ceiling in this room is really high. I've never been in a room with this high a ceiling. And we just like took over his office basically and ran with it. We never really talked with Will Smith. The closest interaction we had was we were in his production office and they sent us, they had like a big celebration for one of the executives, invited us, and Will Smith sent in a video and was just like, hey, I just want to say how proud of you I am. But he was dressed as the genie from Aladdin at the time. So literally we're like, oh, that's cool. And then as soon as we walked to the office, there was a stack of NDAs waiting for us to sign to be like, you did not see anything. Don't talk about what you saw. You didn't know what the genie's going to look like, all that shit. So that was the only NDA we ever signed for Cobra Kai. But yeah, we never interfaced. But the producers, from Overbrook are amazing. Yeah, they're great.
Well, sweet. And I hope DJ Jazzy Jeff wasn't squatting under the conference table when you
yeah, we had to chase him out with a broom.
All right, keep going.
Comes a show they got everything right about making a new TV franchise, except for launching it on YouTube Red. Goodbye, Fallen Soldier. Turns out there are losers in this dojo. Cobra Kai.
Pause. I think you talked about it briefly. Like, what's the change between the show being on YouTube Red and Netflix? How has it been on the other end of that?
Nothing. I mean, the guy. I mean, Netflix has been an amazing collaborator. YouTube was, to their credit, was really great about being hands off. They were just like, make the show the way you want to make it. They always had minor notes and nothing. Like, pretty much the way that the show turned out is the way we envisioned it. And so far with Netflix, it's been pretty much the same. They've given a little bit more notes and we've gone back and forth, but the tone of the show is pretty much the exact same. So far, nothing new.
They haven't said like, our algorithm thinks you should go to a kissing booth next season.
No, nothing like that. The kissing booth idea was all ours. No, they haven't. Nothing like that, which has been nice. So far, so good.
Like there has been one pretty dramatic change, which is people are watching it now.
Yes, that's the biggest.
So I mean, that obviously has got to change. Like, you were making it kind of in a relative vacuum for a little while, and now
Yeah, no, you're right. Like that I would say is the biggest change. Is like season 1, YouTube, who, to be fair, they just like were new to the streaming game, and they were like, listen, we're really excited. We're gonna put you on YouTube front page. The biggest thing though is that the little marker at the bottom is going to look like the crane kick. So like, on the time code or whatever, like, oh, that's cool. And then when we get to Netflix, they're just like, here's all our imagery. We're going to have 20 different images based on the algorithm. Like, just the marketing level was wild. And seeing the new art for, like the cover art for season 3 with the Cobra and with the snake in the tree and the bonsai tree, like with everybody in the tree, like seeing that imagery is just like unbelievably cool. So yes, that would be the biggest change, is that like the marketing team is just like, they're so dialed in.
Yeah, on Netflix, when it serves me Cobra Kai, the thumbnail is always Bernie Mac for some reason, but it always gets me to click. So.
It's so funny. I always get the like 2 girls facing off, and I'm just like, I do watch a lot of Buffy. I did watch a ton of Buffy on Netflix, so the algorithm is working.
There you go. All right, let's keep watching.
Cobra Kai. Prepare for the story of what happens after the triumphant freeze-frame ending of your favorite 80s movie, in a premise that sounds like it has just enough gas to power a Funny or Die sketch. But is actually good enough to fuel multiple seasons. And now that the Saved by the Bell sequel is off to a fun start too, we're back on board with the last scraps of pop culture being strip-mined and fed back to us by telecoms and streaming giants. Woo! Hey, is Judd Nelson still alive? Let's crank out 6 eps of Old Man Bender. Make him fight the robot from Short Circuit. I mean, it. Return to the Atlanta area.
I mean, you definitely layer in a lot of Easter eggs, but like, how much do you consciously traffic in nostalgia, and do you have like a line where it's like that's too exploitive of the originals, or like let's where do you draw the line between original and harkening back to the Karate Kid movies?
The guys, so Josh, John, and Hayden, my bosses, they're like the creators of the show also. Those guys are just absolutely incredible at like knowing the taste level, and I think they did such a great job in season 1 establishing like, here's how far we can go. So usually we've gotten pretty good at like knowing, we never want to call it out. We never want to wink to the audience. We want it to be kind of a nice, fun thing that fans will notice, and it makes the show better, but it should always feel grounded and come from like a character place first and foremost. So we're always pretty careful about making sure that like, for instance, if can I spoil stuff? I assume people who have watched is it okay to spoil? So like in season 3, when Chosen says, keep this for your collection, like that, I don't remember who, I might have pitched that. I don't remember who pitched that exactly, but like, we like that joke because one, it's a funny callback to him taking off his shirt. It nods one of the few things that, if you've seen Karate Kid 2, that probably has stuck to your mind. So it calls back to that, but it's also like in character, it's like a moment where he's sharing this thing. And that's the kind of thing that we want to try to hit. It's like, we don't want to go too far. It's a tough line for sure. And we've definitely cut things. We're like, this is too much. Yeah. But it's always about character and tone first.
Well, there you go. I think you nailed it. All right, let's keep watching.
Return to the Atlanta area of the San Fernando Valley and follow.
Pause. Sorry, can we pause a second? That joke made me laugh so hard. It's very, very funny, and it's very true that like it is wild how much. I think in season 3 we did not go to LA at all once. The only time we shot outside of Atlanta was Okinawa, and it's only the airport, the exteriors of the taxi, and Chosen and Daniel walking around outside Okinawa and like looking at stuff. Literally everything else was in Atlanta, including the letter reading scene from my episode, and all the Chosen Dojo stuff was actually in the same house, just like a different side.
Nice.
Anyway, continue. I like that joke.
Honestly, I thought, because once we knew we were doing that joke, we were like on the lookout for look for shots where it's obviously not Southern California. I'm like, they're in there, but you guys do a pretty good job. Like, it's not as blatant as some other shows.
A hot, flat mini mall looks the same in every state.
Yeah, like there are a lot of shots where it's like, well, that could totally be Reseda. Like, that's not,
it's little stuff. It's rest stop culture where like as Southerners we can be like, that's an I-65 rest stop. Like we don't really have stuff like that in California, so it's like little moments like that where you're like, that's a place for trucks to go.
Also, like Tomei Village Green, that mall, that's actually a huge hangout for teenagers. Like that's where we also shot the why am I blanking on his name? Dee Snider. The concert was actually in a spot in that strip mall. So like people who grew up in Atlanta were like, oh, that's fucking purgatory. Like I know that spot. Like that's where people hang out all the time. But anyway, yeah.
All right, let's keep going.
Where the kids play their laser tag.
Washed up guy who's out to prove that there's more to him than one thing he did in the 80s. William Zabka. Johnny Lawrence. It turns out he got crane kicked so hard his entire life collapsed, ultimately turning him into a booze hound with a 2-word vocabulary.
Cobra, like the badass snake. And you're being a Cobra Kai is about being badass. Don't be a What? It's badass.
Light beer is for
Truckosaurus was badass. Those are moves. Kicking is badass. Drowning is for all right? Don't be a
Who's so stuck in the past, you'll start to wonder if that kick actually put him into a waking coma.
Put one of those hash browns at the end, like hash brown team Cobra Kai or something. www period Cobra Kai period COM, all lowercase. This concussion nonsense.
You might want to rethink that last one, Unfrozen Caveman Sensei.
It's a Facebook.
Here, pause. Sorry.
So pause.
My favorite one of those from season 3 is the fact that he misunderstood that wireless computer meant that his computer plugged in, not that he could connect to the internet wirelessly. Writing caveman jokes for Johnny is like the funniest fucking shit, and the amount of stuff that we get to write that stays in is like my favorite thing. I love that he's a total caveman, and you fucking called it out, and it's great. Anyway,
he's also just like, for the setup of the bit of like, the one guy who's out to prove that he's more than the Johnny Cage. Like, there's something. One of the most satisfying things about Cobra Kai is like the meta that Johnny's stepping up to the plate and has something to prove. But like William Zabka like really came to play on this show, and he's so good. It's just like really cool to watch.
He is like first of all, he is the sweetest, nicest dude ever. I mean, like everybody on the cast is amazing. Like Ralph is great, and the kids are great. Sholo's great, but like Billy, he comes in, he does. Almost all the stunts are him. Like he trains all year. He cares about the character. He just like he sets such a great tone. Like he and Ralph just set a great tone. And like this means so much to him, and I just having these like great conversations about like, I don't know about the scene, like what about this and this, and being like, okay, I can see that. Let's talk about fixing that and making it more like what you're imagining and stuff like that. So it's awesome, and he just loves the show, and it means everything to him. He just cares so much, which is great.
That's awesome and very helpful.
Yeah, right.
It's not a Wesley Snipes Blade 3 situation.
He does make everybody call him Johnny on set, though. But, so that part is from Snipes.
All right, keep going.
Facebook.
Wow.
But no former antagonist reframed as a protagonist is complete without his former protagonist reframed as an antagonist frenemy. Enter Daniel LaRusso, the Karate Kid who definitely stopped practicing karate. But never gave up on his Asian fetish.
That was take 500, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's see. That was season 1. I don't remember how many takes it was. Like, it's so tough because, I don't know. That one, I think that was like the one big karate stunt he had to do all year. And then the next year he was like, we're doubling down. And he is like so on top of the training and stuff. Like he is like, I want to know the choreography. I want to practice. So he works super hard on that stuff.
That's got to be true. Like maybe behind the scenes, there's like a Johnny Danny thing going on. If Zabka's taking it so seriously and training all the time, and
they have such a funny relation. They have such a funny relationship because like they're friends, but you can tell a little bit of the rivalry is a little bit there, but not really. It's just they have such a great relationship, and I think they know to have that relationship with the press too, because that's what the press loves to have. But they're good dudes.
Awesome. All right, keep going.
But never gave up on his Asian fetish.
The yanagi, or yanagi-ba, depending on the region, is a knife used exclusively
We all know that guy.
sashimi.
This guy definitely is a waifu pillow. When Cobra Kai rises again, he'll defend his version of the martial art, a boring hybrid of tours and therapy that only works by accident once you've tricked a teenager into jacking it for you. Mr. Miyagi would be so proud if you just stopped talking about him for once in your adult life.
Mr. Miyagi had to teach me. Only Mr. Miyagi could do it. Mr. Miyagi didn't want me to compete anymore. I wish you were here to give me some of that Miyagi wisdom right now. Mr. Miyagi took me to this beautiful lake up north to train. Mr. Miyagi built this a few years before he died. Mr. Miyagi treated me like a son, not a foreigner. That was Mr. Miyagi's favorite song. Mr. Miyagi, I mean, you're such a great teacher.
Please stop talking about the old man you were best friends with in high school. But this show
pause. Isn't there we might have it as a cut joke at the end, where like he was definitely the kid who hung out in the principal's office or something like that. Like,
yeah, it's so funny. We're definitely like Beetlejuicing it, where it's like, maybe if we say Mr. Miyagi 3 times, he'll come back to life.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was a very intense, what would you say, 5-year period as a kid that they like canonically they spent together.
Canonically, in the movies, absolutely. But then like with the show, we're definitely trying to show that like, oh, like they've spent an entire lifetime together. And like in season 3, mentioning that like Sam saw him as a grandfather and shit like that. So yeah, like it's so tough to have this like this actor and character who is so meaningful to the movie. I feel like Pat Morita like made that, like that first movie is so much of Pat Morita, and to not have him in this show, it's about trying to bring that feeling back, but it's great. It's,
well, there's something I want to segue into from that, but I think we talk about it later, specifically Daniel's son. So we'll get to that in a second.
Let's be AJ Soprano of Cobra Kai.
With the bigger budget, has Netflix ever been like, can we Grand Moff Tarkin Pat Morita?
Oh God, no.
We've joked about that, but I think it would just be too much. I think just based off the reaction of Luke.
I mean, maybe final season, final episode, everyone dies and they're like force ghosted together in heaven.
Exactly. Yeah. You just see him. Yeah, you see the Alpha Elite. You see
all there together. All right, keep going.
But this show isn't just about old Karate Kids. It's also about the next Karate Kids. Sorry, the next Karate Kids. No, and that was Kung Fu. Stupid movie. These Karate Kids. Miguel, whose decision to learn karate brings him confidence and gets him paralyzed. Wow, that got dark fast. Daniel's daughter Sam, who grew up doing martial arts. Okay, sure. Aisha, the only one with parents sensible enough to keep her out of season 3.
After the fight, her parents moved her to a private school.
Lip/Hawk, the kid who can have exactly one gimmick at a time.
So I'm not supposed to mention his lip at all?
Leaving early to fix that stupid haircut?
Dimitri, an insecure nerd with a bright future in a college improv comedy group.
I'm at peace with my depression. Last thing I need to be is suicidal.
Tori, the Tory of the bunch. Raymond, a live-action Nickelodeon character who snuck into the show for a season.
Heretofore, you can refer to me.
Pause. Look, I really loved Richard Jewell. I think it's Clint Eastwood's best work in a decade. I didn't enjoy this character. I didn't enjoy this character. I didn't enjoy this character.
So Stingray was something we actually talked about in season 1. And we were joking about, we wanted to have an adult join the dojo. And what we joked about in the room, and I'm going to say this joke because I don't think it's ever going to happen, but we joked about that he had some, like, my favorite joke that we joked about was that the guy was just sort of like, he was like a puppeteer in the Valley. Like, he was like, I was actually the guy I was the second puppeteer on the Octopus and the Goonies and did a little bit of gizmo work, freelance. Clearly that didn't get him, but we always joked about, like, having that character, like a man-child, basically. Mm-hmm. And when we did season 2, we're like, oh, this would be a fun opportunity to bring him in. And I think Paul Walter Hauser was our only choice. We were just like, we watched like clips of him in Kingdom, which a few of the writers were big fans of. And we're like, oh my God, like he kind of captured that fun energy. And I am very well aware that Stingray is incredibly divisive in the fan base. I love Stingray. I think what is it, like when Stingray pops up and it goes like, I don't know. I just love writing for Stingray. He's just so much fun to write for, but I understand his divisiveness.
Here's the problem is that the show is a bit of an escape for us. And if it's not an escape, if we see ourselves in characters, we see ourselves in Danny and in Johnny, but the truth is that we would all be Stingrays and we don't want to see that.
That's why I think he lands bad for me, because I am
a Stingray.
I am a 40-year-old man that does karate with high schoolers.
It's a little close. Was Stingray inspired by Joe Starr? I mean, we can talk about that.
Yeah, right. I do love the fact that it's like, I just like, no, don't put that mirror down, guys. Stop. I totally understand that. But, Stingray wasn't in season 3, but hey, all the characters can come back at any point. So
that's a threat. That's a Michael Jonathan threat. You can take that to the bank.
Yeah, exactly. Let's see how the rest of this interview goes. Maybe he'll pop in episode 1. Who knows?
All right.
Spin-off. I smell a spin-off.
Let's keep going.
You can refer to me as Stingray.
Robbie, the son that Johnny gave up on because he could never shut his mouth. Literally.
It's a smolder.
It's a solid smolder.
It's a smolder.
And Anthony, the son that Danny clearly gave up on because even though he lives with him, he could not give less of a about this little a-hole.
Dad, where the hell's my drink? Hurry up.
You know what? I'm gonna throw him in the goddamn pool.
Okay.
Yeah, I'd adopt my rival son to spend less time around this kid too. Sometimes you just have a dud in your hands.
A triangle schmuffin? What is this, Afghanistan?
Explore series.
What's the backstory there? He just sucks.
I fucking love Anthony. He's America's trash bag. So the guys always thought like they wanted to have a character that was just like, this guy sucks. Like, this is the son that kind of sucks a little bit. Like, not that he sucks, but just that it's like, what would be the hardest thing for Daniel to deal with is having a kid. Like, because having a kid that like really challenges you. And I think they really want to lean into that. And we definitely leaned into just like having him be a total jerk. And we want to flesh him out more, but it runs into the problem of like, you've seen the show, there's like 8 million characters. And if we're going to do something with Anthony, we want it to be meaningful. So we're waiting for the right time for Anthony to have like a good, meaty storyline. And hopefully in the future we'll be able to do that. I'm not sure quite yet, but yeah, that's kind of the backstory. And he just kind of like, now he pops in and we just get to write. I love writing Anthony shit because he is just the absolute worst. Like I think that Afghanistan line might be mine or Josh Heald's. Like, it's just great shit.
I do appreciate the restraint because and you managed to, give characters their due throughout the season. They're not just given lines for the sake of having camera time. Because we were just watching the Street Fighter film, another karate-based nostalgia fest. But it's like,
sure.
When you have a big ensemble cast, it's got to be hard to it's got to be hard to commit to fully commit to telling like complete character stories.
And that was
cutting other ones.
Yeah, that was definitely the problem we ran. Not problem, but definitely what we were like aware of starting season 3, especially with like Robbie, where we're like, okay, well, Robbie's going to be in juvie, so we're just going to have to like know that not every episode is going to have a Robbie storyline. We'll check in with him, but we just have to like, not everyone can have a huge meaty storyline like Johnny and Daniel. So
yeah, it's their show. They're the they're the center of it.
They're the Karate Kids. I don't know.
They're the Karate Kids. Until Swank joins in season 4.
Yeah, right.
I'm gonna say this. Most of chat is just asking about Hillary Swank.
I can't. All I'll say is the same thing that the guys always say, which is, and by guys I mean my bosses, is that anyone who are in those movies is canon. So anyone can pop up at any time. Is what I'll say.
Does that include the Jaden remake?
I have to double check if that's considered canon. I don't know for sure, so I'll double check on that. I don't want to say one thing or the other in case we decide to bring back Jaden. But
this is the time you finally hear from Will Smith. It's going to be an angry phone call after this. Like, how dare you?
I gotta go.
So we could potentially be swanked in our future, and question marks about Jaden. Yeah. Okay, cool.
God, she's got a relationship with Netflix already. This feels inevitable. I don't want to speak out of turn, but this feels inevitable to me.
I'm a big fan. I don't know what to say.
You guys are going to get swanked at some point.
All of those fans of that movie will be so pleased.
You're going to watch the show. You're going to watch the show, and Hillary's going to show up, and then it's just going to say, "Get swanked."
Get swanked.
Letters.
Yeah.
Or
y'all been swanked. You just got swanked.
After you've been manked on Netflix.
We'll do. We're gonna do fake outs like the Elizabeth Shue fake out in the early part of season 3. We'll just be like, man, I don't know, maybe you should get a little swanky with your karate. I don't know, maybe that's a swanky idea. Like we'll just constantly pepper it until we drive everybody mad.
We will.
Sorry, chat.
Sorry. All right, let's keep going.
Explore a series where everyone bullies everyone else, and it always leads to them turning into overnight karate masters.
No hard feelings.
Where Johnny was bullied by his sensei, Danny was bullied by Johnny, and Johnny was bullied by Danny.
I kicked his face. I'm just busting your chops.
So when he meets some nerds who are getting bullied by the popular kids, Johnny bullies the nerds into learning karate.
I see losers, I see nerds, I see a fat kid with a funny hat with his popping out.
Nice shirt.
Thanks.
I'm joking, it sucks.
So the nerds can use karate to bully the popular kids.
No mercy!
Who go on to learn karate from the sensei who bullied Johnny to bully the nerds turned popular bullies, who bullied Johnny into learning karate in the first place until Johnny's karate is strong enough to bully him back. Did I get that right? It's like a vicious circle shaped like the drum.
You did get that right. You make it. Okay.
Yeah, we can talk about it. It's the circle of karate life. I mean,
yeah.
Why does anyone take martial arts if not because they've been bullied or they dream of bullying somebody else?
That's the thing. Like our show is a soap opera with karate. Like everyone's gonna bully someone. So much of the show is about like who is changing. Like Robbie's gonna be in Cobra Kai this year, or move to Cobra Kai at the end of season 3, and like that's the whole rotation. Like the good guys become bad, the bad guys become good.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's just fun to kind of rotate everybody. And like seeing Kyler back this year was awesome. And like Yasmin coming back as kind of a bully, but then hooking up with Dimitri, and now she's kind of with those guys, and like that's a kind of fun shit. That's always fun to. It just makes it more interesting to write too. It's just like changing it up a little bit.
I appreciated that. For me, the show started as Karate Kid callbacks, and now it's calling back to itself really well. Like when when Kreese's like new class showed up, I was like, oh man, who are these jerks? And it took me like a full episode to be like, oh, it's those jerks.
Those jerks. I remember those jerks.
Wait,
I remember
I know these jerks.
You remember Brooks just long enough to see him get murdered on camera.
Yeah.
And Kyler's like one wrestling class puts him probably in a more dangerous zone than anyone who's taken karate at any point.
Yeah, for sure.
This is a side note, but you know, my bias was formed on a sleepover in middle school, as so many are, where we had one friend who was a black belt in Taekwondo and one friend who was on, you know, the JV wrestling team, and we made them fight each other. we made them
Finally, science will decide.
I mean, a lot of the stuff that we talk about, like when the room, right before the room starts, we talk about like, what do you want to see this year and stuff like that. And honestly, we talk a lot about like who do we want to fight who, and it is kind of like taking two action figures and being like, you two kiss, but we're fighting.
Yeah.
Like it's just, you know, like we're like, oh, wouldn't it be cool if like Robbie got in the fight this year? And sorry, what'd you say, Lon?
Oh,
I said and kissing. I mean, they could fight and kiss in the show. I think that's fine. I think we're okay.
The kissing booth.
Sometimes they do, yeah, the kicking booth. All right, let's keep going.
Crossover.
Like a vicious circle shaped like the drum in Karate Kid 2, which means bullying is part of balance because you can't have balance without.
Quiet!
Yes, Sensei. So enjoy a battle of good versus Cobra, not seen since Dodgeball. That's not exactly prestige television, but is the best around for a binge-worthy nostalgia trip that takes all of these 80s archetypes who could easily settle their differences with a big karate fight and treats them like actual characters with layers and depth who settle all their differences with a big karate fight. If it ain't broke, right? Starring Cobra Commander, Machio Man. Marvel casts his boys Nova immediately. Living in a van down by the river. Don't talk to me or my dumb son ever again. Richard Jewell. This cameo brought to you by Seattle's best Hawaiian restaurant, Kona Kitchen. Let them fight. Insider Valley references.
Come visit any of our locations in Tarzana, Woodland Hills, North Hollywood, or Sherman Oaks.
My girlfriend bartends at this place over in Cahuenga.
5 a.m. tomorrow morning, corner of Fulton and Raymer.
I worked at Fat Sal's all summer.
I came here.
Wait, pause. We have to talk about Fat Sal's.
I mean, Fat Sal's is Hollywood, I thought, but is there another location?
No, it's definitely Hollywood.
There's one in Valley, isn't there?
Is there? I have no
I think
idea.
there is.
But
I think there is one in like Van Nuys or something. I could be wrong, but
All I know is it's
better.
the sandwich place started by Turtle from Entourage, and for that, I love it.
And one of my, that was a thing that we joked about in season 2 when we were like, should we check in on Louis? Like, and the guys were like, oh, Louis working at Fat Sal's, and that made me laugh so hard that we were joking about the fact that Fat Sal's has his own fast food entourage that he's made of like sandwich makers from like the Subway and shit like that. No, I love Fat Sal. So the fact that we were able to get Fat Sal's into this season was like my favorite thing.
Now you have to do a running bit that anytime he's preparing food for anyone, he's putting French fries in it.
Yeah, he's putting like funny chicken tenders inside of a sandwich, inside of another sandwich.
You gotta tune this down, man.
Gotta do it. I gotta do it.
They're the ultimate in like if you can put it between 2 slices of bread, it counts as a sandwich. They don't care.
No, go to Fat Sal's. It's the best. Anyway, continue.
All right, keep going.
I came here. Well, in and out, and then here.
Easter eggs.
Defeat does not exist in this dojo.
What does it do?
I fixed it for you.
Side to side. Breathe in, breathe out.
Is that why you brought me here? To trick me into doing karate?
Deep cut Easter eggs.
Daniel LaRusso is gonna coach!
All right.
Okay, holy crap, you nerds. Who do you even notice that these were Easter eggs?
Hey, Sam, banana ramen chocolate chip pancakes are up. This is Miyagi-Do.
So, pause. I mean, you told us about some of these. I didn't even know there was an animated series. That's
God.
Deep. That's very.
We could only find like some parts of it. And actually, to be fair, yeah, we definitely wanted to include the pagoda. That was the biggest thing that we were like, that has to be the biggest, strongest callback to the animated series because it's just the most insane thing. It's like the typical Dick animation of the 90s. You know what I mean? I'm just like running around. It's like the weirdest thing, but
it's a weird show.
I was gonna say, does it depart from the movies in a big way? Because I remember like the Jackie Chan animated series, like he's got these magical medallions, and like they went full fantasy with it.
It reminded me of the Jackie Chan thing exactly. It was just like that, where it was just like, wait, what the hell is happening? Like it wasn't Kumiko. It was like a Kumiko adjacent character, and like, God, it was just like there was like some magic. And also like
they're in the Amazon. Right?
Yeah.
It looked like they were. It looked like
they're in the Amazon for a bunch of episodes. It's really
I guess
weird.
they travel the world.
they travel the world. There's like, and also like if anybody finds, because I know if anybody finds Daniel LaRusso annoying in the movies, then this animated series like turns it up to 11 because he is just so whiny. It's like just the most insane thing. But yeah, those kind of like, I don't know, whenever we're writing these episodes, I'm always like rewatching the movies, seeing if there's anything like the titles, like I think in episode 3, it's like, Now You're Gonna Pay is the name of the episode. And that's also what Hawk says. And that's like exactly what Johnny says to them, you know, when he beats up Daniel right before Miyagi saves him. Like, we're always trying to pull lines, especially if it like is a funny way to use it in a new way. And my favorite new. Sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say something that really impressed me, because looking at your Instagram, which people should follow because you've been dropping a lot of cool stuff, but even like the way you frame shots has been really impressive. Like you posted a few pictures of your Instagram that was like, here's the reference shot and here's what we're going for, you know, which I thought was really cool.
We are constantly like, big shout out to the directors of those episodes. I think Steven Tsushita, and who did episode 5 season 3, and Lynn Oding, who did episode 4 and 3. They just literally were like, this is what we want to match. This is what we want to call back. And like, we're very, very, like, we're constantly bringing up reference images. Everybody knows, like, when they designed the Miyagi-Do dojo, which is actually that. I mean, it's behind me in the picture, but it's also physically behind me because I'm in location in Atlanta right now. They rebuilt it based off looking at pictures from all the movies. So they're like, look, the window is like from Karate Kid 3, and this design is like the annex from Karate Kid 2, and then this is obviously the backyard from 1, but we added this part. And you know, a lot of also like coming back to your joke about like Mr. Miyagi all the time is that we kind of have to like explain how this new stuff appeared, you know? So like, so it's a good way to be like, no, it's always been in the canon. You're the ones who didn't notice. But yeah.
Awesome. All right, let's wrap up this trailer.
Reasonable solutions to end all this karate madness.
Calling the police?
And take off your shoes. Sorry, just had to get that off my chest.
The dojo.
Breaking board.
That's great.
You know, it's a good thing not one person in the entire valley has taken an MMA class. These kids would all be so screwed.
Anyways, yes, that was born of my sleepover experience, as we mentioned. Yes, thank you, and thank you, Michael Jonathan Smith. We owe it all to you. We're running kind of short on time. Should we do fan questions or deleted scenes? Because we can punt one or the other till later. But let's do fan questions while we have you, and we'll
please fan questions while we got a special guest.
So Simon Smith asks, was there any talk in the writers' room about Return of the Jedi parallels in the scenes with Kreese, Johnny, and Robbie?
100%. Like so myself, the biggest Star Wars nerds are myself, writer Luan Thomas, and Hayden Schlossberg, who's one of the creators. The three of us are just like constantly being like, yeah. So then episode 2, and just like, oh, by the way, I rewatched the prequels last night, and like, okay, here's why the prequels work. So it's like a huge fight thing. And I think Hayden's favorite thing to come up to us and say is be like, did I ever tell you the story of Darth Plagueis the Wise? It's not a tale of it. Like, he just knows all those quotes. So, and we talk, like, especially by season 3, we talk a lot about like Cobra Kai is the dark side and using the dark side, how you have different powers from the dark side versus the light side and all that stuff. So yeah, Star Wars comes up a lot in the room, much to the other guy's chagrin. They basically bully us. John Hurwitz is just being like, you fucking nerds.
It's just weird because Cobra Kai is good and the prequels aren't. So there must be just something lost in translation there.
Weird.
I get into a huge fight with Luan about the prequels because he likes the prequels and understands the problems. And I'm like, I think there's cool shit in the prequels, but it is just executed really, really poorly. So that is just a huge part of contention between the two of us. And hey, the two of us are staying together, so it makes it even more fun.
NM Lacrosse has respect for the deep cuts. It's General Hospital classy, not passions trashy. A bunch of people have asked sort of variations on, are there any like Easter eggs or references? And this probably gets into just wait and see territory, but is there anything that either has been like sort of tossed to the side that you really wanted to add in or?
Yeah, I won't comment on that because you never know when it's going to pop up. But I mean, you guys have seen the movies. There are tons of stuff we haven't even hit yet. So I feel like we've hit deeper cuts before we've hit, more obvious ones. So there's stuff that we're going to hit, but I don't want to comment one way or the other yet.
We went back when we were working on this. I went back and watched Karate Kid 2, and I found that while I was doing it, I was basically probably doing what you guys do, which is noticing stuff and be like, I don't think that's been in Cobra Kai yet. I'm going to wait out for it. That's coming next season for sure.
Yeah, Snake's got to roll in at some point.
You're just waiting for the stuff to be revisited.
Yes.
Yeah. We did a poll on Fandom, and the character people want to see the most is Terry Silver. So,
whoa, what a surprise!
Yeah, crazy.
Well, who knows? We'll see.
Yeah. All right. What other questions you got, Joe?
See here, Big Neat says, bring Aisha back or we riot. And then sorry, chat. I'm doing live chat, looking on my phone. Someone asked, are there any kids that you don't think can be redeemed? I guess
no,
like characters, not children in general.
Just children.
No children can be redeemed. As for characters, I think every character can be redeemed. I think like maybe there's a way back for Kyler. Who knows? I don't think anybody is totally a piece of shit, as our entire show is predicated on that notion. I mean, Johnny is clearly not a piece of shit. So I think that's what makes the show so exciting for us, is that like anyone could be good, anyone could be bad. How will the dynamic change? Like Hawk's a great example. Hawk, at the end of, spoilers, at the end of the season, he switched back sides. What is that going to look like for the dojo? Now that he's there, is he going to be in the dojo? Who knows? So there's a lot of really cool stuff we can do when we kind of, like I said earlier, rotate everybody.
But when you try redeeming Anthony LaRusso, you just run into a brick wall. So sorry, kid.
Can't be redeemed.
There's no coming back from that. I think that's it, right, Joe? That's probably all.
And then just another question that's definitely from Chad and not from me is there any chance, since he's still alive and still actively teaching in Southern California, that Demora Sensei, Mr. Miyagi's stunt double from the first 3 movies, will make a cameo appearance?
Oh, that's a great question. Maybe. I don't know. We could bring literally anybody back. Except for Elizabeth Shue's mom, we could not find her. I'm sorry.
Anyone in the San Fernando Valley is fair game.
Basically.
It's all canon. The entire valley is canon.
Yeah. Like who knows who was on the other end of that phone call at the end of this of season 3? Could be Snake. Could be Terry Silver. It could be Hillary Swank, and she's evil now. Who knows? We don't know.
She's got a scar.
That's how you know she's evil. She can't be redeemed. She's got a mustache.
She's just goatee.
Yeah, exactly. I keep pitching Bizarro Miyagi verse, but nobody wants to do it. So
shame.
Oh man. Well, dude, thank you so much for coming back and chatting with us about Cobra Kai and having a good sense of humor about the show that I'm sure you devote so many of your hours and time thinking about, and we spend a week going like, he kicks them.
No, it's great. No, thank you guys. Like, obviously this trailer, like it was super funny. I don't take umbrage with anything. I think you guys were fair and balanced.
Fair and balanced. That's our slogan.
That's our slogan and no one else's. Yeah.
Always had that.
Thank you guys so much for coming. I was so excited to come back and do this, and I'm sorry I can't stay longer, but feel free to anytime.
All good. Maybe season 4 we'll come back to the well.
Hell yeah, that'd be great.
So thanks again to Michael. Anything, any place that people should follow you, or anything you want to plug aside from Cobra Kai?
Yeah, I mean, feel free to follow me on Twitter. I'm at Beardy McWhisker on Twitter, and then like Joe said, Instagram. My Instagram is I am Michael Jonathan. You can try to follow me on Beardy McWhisker on Instagram, but that's my private one, so whatever. But all that. Trying to think what else is going on now. Watch the show, and if you haven't watched it, rewatch it. I don't know. That's
all right. We'll watch that show and come back and watch this show next week, where it'll be another property that we have mentioned during this video. You'll have to scan back and see what it was. So thanks again for watching. Thank you, Michael, for joining. See you guys later.
Thanks, guys.